Respect is an incredibly critical core value to any organization, but it's particularly important to us. And you need to recognize, as I said last time about integrity, if you work on this particular value, and this one's really, really valuable, you're going to see that it's going to be something that's going to help you both at PacMoore and at home. Learning respect for other people has tremendous impact on your life. It's going to bless you. So what I'm giving you is a Christmas gift. I'm going to give you things and tools to help you learn how to demonstrate and live out the value of respect. So I would encourage you to listen. This will help you. When you show respect to other people, you get respect back. It's an amazing blessing. And when people feel respected in this organization, they work at a real high level. People want to come to work because they feel valued. They feel respected. So this is a gift to you. Our core value of respect is this. PacMoore employees will use language that builds up those around us. We will resolve disagreements in a fair and timely manner. And we will not gossip about or criticize those with whom we disagree. Today we're going to look at 4 elements of respect. We're going to look at the word itself, the definition. We're going to look at the language of respect, how we handle our disagreements, and how we eliminate gossip from our habits. So let's jump right in. Respect, how do we describe this word? What is it? Respect is very simple. It's a really easy thing to remember. Respect is the value that we each hold for someone or something. Respect is the value that we hold for someone or something. Respect is demonstrated in not only our words, but also demonstrated in our actions. We show that we value someone, that we respect them, by speaking favorably to them and about them. We also show that we value someone, that we respect them, by extending help to them, by loving them, and by caring for them. Every single person that God made, which is all of you, all of us, every one of us needs to feel valued. God built that into it. He wove it into who you are. You want to feel valued. I want to feel valued. But God also designed us in a certain way that only through others do we feel that value. You don't feel that value any other way. Only through people speaking to you and caring for you and demonstrating respect towards you, showing that you're valued, but do you feel that value? God designed us for relationship. We're meant to be in relationship with each other. And respect is one of those values that causes us to work well together and treat each other well. And that's how God designed it. It helps us show that we value each other, and we all need that. So let me first talk about this element of respect called the language of respect. Everybody knows that language, communication happens with words, but it also happens with actions, non-verbally. You don't say anything, but you do things that causes people to know that you value them. People that value others, that show respect for others, non-verbally do it in 4 ways. First, people that listen to people carefully show value to those people. When you listen to someone, it is the greatest way to show them that you respect them and that you value them. And listening is a skill that most of us are not very good at. And I would say that's probably not one of my strengths. I'm trying to work on it, but it's hard to do. Listening is an active behavior, believe it or not. You think listening, you just sit there and don't do anything, but it's not true. When you listen, you have to be active when you listen. There's 2 things that good listeners do. Good listeners ask good questions. They listen to somebody, and when that person's talking, they're listening carefully enough to be able to ask a follow-up question to what that person said because they're listening to them. They understand what's being talked about, and so they ask another question to get more clarity or to dig deeper into what they were told. Good listeners ask good questions. And then when the people that ask good questions hear those, an active listener clarifies what they hear. When you're a good listener, somebody speaks to you and says something to you, they'll pause and say, "Did I hear you correctly? Is this what you mean when you said that?" And they'll repeat back to them what they said. And that's a great way to affirm that you heard the person, because a lot of times we don't hear people the right way. But when you repeat it back to them, it gives them an opportunity to go, "No, that's not what I said. What I was saying was this. Oh, what you said was that. Okay, did I get it right? You did. What a great way for somebody to feel valued. They know that you heard them because you repeated it back to them and they said, that's exactly what I said to you. That's what an active listener looks like. Active listening is a really good way to show somebody that you value them and respect them. Another way that people that value others, respect them, demonstrate that is they respond to their needs. People that care about others watch the people that are around them. You look at your coworkers, you're watching your coworkers, the people that are working with you, and you see if they need something. You don't just sit there with your headphones on, staring at your computer off into your little world. You're looking at people around you. You're not working on your production line, just looking down and doing your thing. You're working and you're looking around and looking for opportunities to help others. That's what people do that care about others. You're looking for ways to help other people. And the best people that do that, the ones that are really high-level respecters, valuers, anticipate what people need. They don't even wait for somebody to ask for help. They're anticipating. And how could you anticipate somebody's needs for help? By asking them questions and getting to know them and knowing when they're going to need help. Good listeners are good helpers because they know about the people that are around them. You know, don't you see that sometimes? You know, you're asking somebody, hey, how's it going? You're getting to know, well, my son's sick, you know, and I got to go do the groceries tonight. I don't know how to do that, and I'm not going to get some work done that I need done. Hey, let me help you with that. Let me go over to your house. I'll cut your grass for you tonight so you can do that. That's what an active listener does, is he jumps in and gets ahead of the person and helps them before they even ask for it. So by showing somebody that you care for them, you do it by responding to their needs. Also, another way that people do that, care for others, respect them, is by including them in their activities. You know, one of the biggest reasons people leave PacMoore, they leave companies, is because they feel isolated. They feel alone. Nobody's included them in anything. You know, and we do that, don't we? We tend to be that way. We kind of size people up and we're like, wow, you know, he doesn't look like me, his skin's different color, he doesn't wear his hair like me, I don't like his clothes, the way he talks. You know, she's kind of different, you know, and seems a little bit weird, and she's got some earrings and some tattoos or whatever, you know, maybe that's really cool these days, and maybe somebody said, oh, I really like them because they have that stuff. But that, you know, we size people up by the way we see them, and then we isolate them. We push them aside and say, I don't want to be around those people. You know, I'm just going to not get to know them. And when people feel that way, they don't feel valued. When you isolate a new person at PacMoore, they usually quit. When you don't include a new person at PacMoore in the things that you're doing, they usually leave. So people that respect others and value others, include them. And lunch is a great time to do that. If you see somebody that's new here at PacMoore, invite them to have lunch with you and get to know them by asking them good questions and then listening to them. That's a great way to get to know people and become friends with somebody. Some of our best friends come from the workplace. And many of us have discovered some of our best friends were people that we took a little bit too much time to get to know, and when we got to know them, we're like, wow, that guy or girl's really cool. I wish I would have gotten to know him sooner. So people that love and value others, they get to know people and include them in their activities. The other thing that people do that shows respect to others is they know people's boundaries. You'll see this. People that value others are very careful about boundaries. They know what the parameters are, right? Where can I go and where should I not go? Let me give you some examples of boundaries. Workspace is a boundary. People have a space in which they do their work, and when you barge into that space, you're getting into their space, and for some people, that's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. You just walk in and present yourself, and it's like, wow, you know, I don't know what to do with that. It makes people feel very nervous. That doesn't value the person. It disrespects the person. When you barge into somebody's office, just open their door and walk on in, that's disrespectful to that person's space. People that respect others respect their boundaries, and they know those boundaries. They understand what they are. Another boundary that people are cognizant of is people's personal body. You know, you can't just touch people that don't want to be touched. You know, we're kind of huggers around here. We like to hug people, and some people don't like to be hugged. You know, when you hug them, it doesn't make them feel good. It makes them feel bad. And you need to be careful with that. And guys, listen to me carefully, all right? The girls aren't yours to touch. You don't just get to touch the girls whenever you think you can. That's not cool. That's not okay. That's very disrespectful to women. We don't do that at PacMoore. We're mindful of who the ladies are in the company, and we don't touch them arbitrarily when we feel like we want to. We show them respect by having boundaries, and their body is one of those boundaries. Another place that's important to know boundaries is property, people's property. right? You need to know that your lunch is your lunch and that guy's lunch is his lunch. We've had people stealing lunches here. Did you guys know that? People are stealing other people's lunches. We don't do that. That's disrespectful. That dishonors others. That's not what we do. People's lunch is their property, and when you take their property, you're saying, I don't value you as a person. And we do value people as a person, so we don't take their lunches. And we've had cars stolen out of our parking lot. You don't steal people's cars. We don't do that. That dishonors the person. It's not funny. There's no good in that. That's wrong. That's bad behavior. God says stealing is wrong. We don't steal. That disrespects people. Let me give you a personal one. When I walk through PacMoore, both my plants, these plants feel like my house. They do. I own these. These are just like my home. In fact, I think I have more passion and emotion about these buildings than I do my own house. I think my wife says that to me once in a while when I track mud through the carpet. She's like, you'd never do that at work. And you're like, yeah, you're right, actually. I wouldn't. You know, when you guys spill stuff on the floor, when you throw cigarette butts in the parking lot, when you damage things by hitting stuff with the fork trucks, when you trash the forklifts, when you spray paint graffiti on the walls of the bathrooms, it disrespects me. I feel that. It hurts me. And it hurts me a lot because it's like my house. And it's like you're saying to me, I don't care about you, Bill. I don't value you. And I'll do what I want here. This is my space and I'll do whatever I want. That hurts me. I don't like that. And if that's your intent is to hurt me, I'd rather you just come up and talk to me and tell me what it is that you're mad at me about rather than hurt the property that I own. It's not right. It's not the right thing to do, and you shouldn't do that to each other's property. We need to care for each other's property because caring for people's properties tells them that you value them. I love seeing the cleaning staff and the maintenance group at work here. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things. I love when I go out and I see Jose or Ronnie out there cleaning and washing because it makes me feel like they really care about our stuff. And I love it when I see Felipe and Greg and Forrest fixing something and really making it nice and painting it and really dressing it up and who goes up there caulking, and that makes me feel so good because they care about our property. That's a neat feeling. It's a great experience for me. And the fourth thing that people do that care about others, that show respect for people nonverbally, is they respect their time. You realize that time is the only thing you have that's going away right now. It's going to be gone. You have a limited amount of it, and there's only so much, and you have no idea when your time's going to be over with. God will call you home at a time when you will never expect it. You don't know when that time is up. So you have a limited amount of time in your life, and most of us recognize that, and we're very careful about how we use our time. And one of the ways that a lot of us don't respect others is we just don't care about people's time. We just don't. We just walk in on them. We just walk up to them. We start talking to them, and we yak away. And we don't have a care in the world about what their time is like. We show up late for meetings. Just walk in whenever we want to, and it's like I respect my time because I was doing what I wanted to do. But your time, that's your problem. I'll show up when I want to show up. That's very disrespectful. That dishonors the person that wanted to come together and talk. When you say I'm on time, you're saying to that person, I value you. I understand what you're doing. I understand you, and I know this is important for me to be here on time, and I don't want to waste it, so I'll be here on time. That's important to do. And when you want to meet with somebody, don't barge in on them because you're not valuing their time when you do that. Ask them if they have time to meet with you and to get with you. Whether it's a minute or 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, go ask for that time. When you take time, you're stealing from somebody, and it disrespects that person. Don't take people's time without their permission. That shows respect and value. So those are nonverbal ways of communicating. There's verbal ways to communicate as well. Language. The language of respect comes through spoken words. Spoken words. Listen carefully to this section. There's a lot of truth in here that you want to hear. The Bible says this: do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only that which builds others up according to their needs. 2,000 years ago that was written. And it was written by people that struggled with the way they spoke, just like you and I do. Man hasn't changed for 2,000 years. We've been on this planet for about 6. Man hasn't changed. Our words have power, tremendous power. They have the power to destroy, and they have the power to transform. Words are incredibly powerful. They can lift people up to do incredible things, and they can destroy people's lives. There's a great story of a blind man sitting on a curb, And it's rush hour, and all these people are walking by, and a lady walks by at a fast clip, and she stops and turns around and looks, and his cup is empty. And she looks over at his sign, and she takes his sign, his cardboard sign, she flips it over, grabs a marker, and writes new words on the back of the sign, sets the sign down, goes on her way. She comes back at the end of the workday, 8 hours later, walks by, and his cup is brimming over with money. There's change all over the place. And when she originally walked up, the blind man felt her shoes, so he knew who she was, and she came back the second time. He touched her shoes, and he knew it was her. And he said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I didn't do anything. I simply said the same thing you did with different words." And the words that he had originally put on the sign said, "I'm blind, will you help me?" She flipped it over and wrote, "It's a beautiful day, but I can't see it." And that difference in words impacted people dramatically. Your word choice matters. The thoughts you have and the way you articulate them matter. There's over 750,000 words in the English language. You know how many each of us uses in our lifetime? 2,000 at most. Because we develop habits of the language and the words that we pick and choose. And those habits become our pattern in life. And we stay with the same words over and over. What I would say to you is learn a new vocabulary. Learn a vocabulary of respect. Learn new words. Learn to open up your mind and look for those. You can find those words in the Bible. They're all over the Bible. You can learn a whole new vocabulary by reading the Bible. If you don't like that, then take some classes on how to use words that are positive and speak positive. You have to develop eyes to see things that people do that are good. You have to develop a vocabulary to express what you see, and then you have to articulate what you see into the person that's standing in front of you. See what they do, develop a vocabulary that describes what they do in a fresh and powerful way, and then say it to them. And that's what transforms lives. That's what does it. The Bible says this, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things." The transformation of your mind and what you think about will transform your words. If you think about criticizing and anger and being mad all the time, the words that come out of your mouth will match what's in your mind. If you change what you see in people and what you think about, which is praiseworthy, goodness, happy things, joy, excellence, you will start to speak words that reflect what's in your mind. And this is what the Scripture calls us to. Let me ask you this. Who's the most successful person of these two people I'm going to describe? The person who has the greatest individual achievement, or the person who empowers the people around him to reach their fullest potential? Who's the greatest person? Michael Jordan came to the Bulls. Michael Jordan, in 2 years, had every scoring record in the NBA. And the Bulls couldn't even come close to winning their conference, let alone winning an NBA championship. A young coach named Phil Jackson was brought on board. And Phil Jackson listened to his other coach, Tex Winters, who said, "We need to run a different offense because Jordan needs to learn how to play with a team." And Tex Winters taught Phil Jackson how to run the triangle offense. And when Phil Jackson taught his offense how to run the triangle offense, and he forced Michael Jackson to learn how to play the triangle offense, they won 6 NBA championships, a record that's never been touched. And then Phil Jackson did that again at LA, where he took Kobe and Shaq and did the same thing and taught them how to play together. Who was the greatest NBA star of that time? Michael Jordan? Shaq? Kobe? Kobe, yeah. No, it was Phil Jackson, because he took all these people that couldn't win and brought out their greatest potential in them. And that's what words do. That's what PacMoore supervisors do. That's what PacMoore leaders do, is we find words and language and we communicate in such a way as that we lift people up. We empower them to greatness. We bring people together through our language, through our words. We learn a vocabulary that's different than the one we grew up with, It's one that empowers and gives people inspiration. That's what we do. You know, numerous people have left PacMoore over the years, and when we've talked to them, quite a number of them left because they were abused verbally by their supervisor. They were abused by their supervisor. And I dare say some of those people left because of me, because of the words I spoke. Critical and angry words are very powerful, and they almost never, ever achieve change. What they always achieve is pain. They hurt people, but they almost never achieve change, which is what we're often trying to get by yelling and screaming and being verbally abusive to others. We're trying to get change. It doesn't work. Everybody that's studied this, all through the sciences, has proven it's not effective. You can't lead using that style. As PacMoore employees, we must work to eliminate critical and angry language from our vocabulary. PacMoore employees show respect by using language that builds others up. Another facet of respect is how we handle our disagreements. There are few certainties in life. You've all heard these, right? Death and taxes, right? Two things that you can't avoid. But I would add a third. There are three things in life you can't avoid: death, taxes, and disagreements. Two people in a room, I don't care who they are, you put them in a room long enough and they will have a conflict. It's going to happen, no matter who it is. Disagreements are normal. They're normal. Happens to all of us. But how we handle our disagreements, that's what makes us different. That's what can make us different. The vast majority of us are never trained on how to handle our conflicts and disagreements. We just haven't been. It doesn't happen. You don't get classes on this. Most of us have watched dysfunctional parents argue, yell, criticize, clam up, attack, divorce. That's what we've grown up seeing, including me. I saw a lot of that in my family. And most of us have also seen very poorly or untrained managers use those exact same methods: attack, yell, criticize, fight, argue, clam up, don't give you feedback, all of that stuff. That is not good behavior, and it does not help people. It doesn't make them feel respected or valued. PacMoore employees resolve our disagreements in a fair and timely manner. That's the difference between us and what you've seen in the past. And you're going to see us continue to work on this and grow and get better at this because we care about this. We work out our disagreements in a fair and timely manner. Let me talk about fair, and then I'll talk about timely. To be fair, we have to do what? We have to listen to somebody else's ideas when we have a disagreement. You can't be fair if you're not listening. If you're not being fair, it means you're jamming your idea down somebody's throat, and you're not going to listen to their idea. That's not fair. That's you being selfish and wanting to win. When you feel angry and you feel like you're in a debate over something and you feel anger coming on, that's a trigger point. Anger is a trigger. It's a response. It's a responsive emotion. It's a response. You should think about it. Don't let yourself get triggered up and fired up. Stop in that moment when you feel an argument coming along and say, you know what? Instead of getting angry, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to get curious. I'm going to get curious. Instead of getting angry, I'm going to get curious. I'm going to wonder what it is that you're so interested in. Why are you so heated about your side? And I'm going to, instead of demanding my way, I'm going to ask you more about yours. And I'm going to ask you more questions, and I'm going to try to fully understand your position as best as I possibly can. That will diffuse your anger, and it will open your mind up to learning something about the other person, and that will help them diffuse their anger because they won't feel like you're saying no. This is a very powerful technique. We've got to ask questions so we drive out the anger and raise our curiosity level. Then we also have to do this. This is a hard one. And this is what differentiates Christianity from all other faiths. All. When we have been hurt, we ask for forgiveness. When we've been the one hurting someone, we ask for forgiveness. This is the difference. When somebody's injured you and hurt your feelings, you've got to go to them and say, you've hurt me. You've hurt my feelings. You don't go talk to somebody else. And that's what we all do wrong. There's been massive studies done that show over 95% when the people have been attacked personally, where somebody was taking food off their plate, would not confront the other person. Seriously. People will not confront other people, but they'll turn around and tell somebody else about what just happened to them. But they won't confront the person that did it to them. We all do that. That's bad behavior. That's a learned behavior that needs to stop happening in your life. When somebody hurts you, you need to turn to look to them and say, that really hurt. That hurt. And describe how it felt to you. Don't attack them back. What you did made me feel isolated. What you did made me feel like you don't care. What you did made me feel whatever the word is that you're coming to mind. But say that to the person. And then when you're being told that and you've hurt somebody, what we do at PacMoore is we look them in the eye and say, you know what, I didn't know I did that. That certainly wasn't my intent. I'm very sorry. Would you please forgive me? Ask for forgiveness. And when you've been asked for somebody to be forgiven, forgive them. Don't hold a grudge against them. Don't keep anger in your heart. Let it go. Forgive that person. It's incredibly critical that we do this with our disagreements. We must resolve conflict in a timely manner. This is the other part of conflict. We must have these conversations when there's conflict as soon as there's conflict. Now, sometimes that's not practical because there's a lot of anger, and you got to let that die down. But don't go home that night with that in your heart. Don't do it. The scripture's very clear on this. The Bible says, do not let the sun set on your anger. Do not let the sun set on your anger. That means do not let a day go by with anger in your heart towards another person. Do not give the devil a foothold. Unresolved conflict allows your anger to create a wedge between you and the other person. You create conflict between people that never gets resolved the minute you move away. And when you move away, you keep moving away. And the further you get away, the harder it is to resolve. You can't bring peace between two people when they're a mile apart. It can't happen. They have to be in proximity to each other. They got to be standing next to each other. They got to be looking at each other in order to get peace. And that resolution needs to happen in a timely manner. And when you do that in a timely way, you stop people from spreading gossip and rumors to other people. Because that's what happens when you get hurt, you go tell somebody else. And the telling of somebody else is a really bad thing to do. Really bad thing. It causes a lot of damage. Resolving conflict immediately is critical to healthy relationships. And that's what we do as part of our respect value. Disagreements are normal and they're necessary. Now listen to this thought. The best ideas and best solutions to problems are derived from common views or opposing views? Opposing views. When two people sit around and agree about everything, you think they're going to come up with a creative solution to a problem? They're not, because they're just trying to make each other feel good. They're not thinking about creative ways. If you're really trying to solve a problem, you bring as many people in that have lots of different views to bring to the table so that you can find a collectively creative way to solve something. But trust me, when you bring people into a room that all have different ideas and you try to share them, you're going to get conflict. But in that conflict is the best idea. And the great companies know how to harness that energy. They know how to let people's idea spheres crisscross. And they know how to work through that conflict so ideas come out that are incredibly powerful, incredibly good. And that's how PacMoore is going to get to 5,000 jobs by 2020. We're going to work together as a diverse group of people with completely different ways of going about things, and we're going to let each other say what's on our mind, and we're going to allow the conflicts to happen. We're going to work through those in a timely and fair manner, and we're going to find creative ways to bring jobs to thousands of people all over the world. That's what we're going to do, and that's how we're going to go do it. The last element of respect is eliminating gossip. Our value of respect says this: PacMoore employees will not gossip about or criticize those with whom we disagree. Gossip, very simply, is this. Gossip is sharing your negative thoughts and feelings about another person when that person's not in your presence. Let me just say it again, all right? Gossip is sharing your negative thoughts and feelings about another person when that person's not in your presence. That's gossip. Gossip is the number one cause of mistrust in any group of people working together. Number one cause of mistrust in a group is gossip. Gossip tears people apart. It breaks relational bonds. The purpose of gossip is to do exactly that. Its intent is that. Its purpose is to break bonds, to tear apart relationships, to hurt others, for the sole intent of doing what? Of building yourself up. Because you feel bad. And that is incredibly selfish and does not align itself with the value of respect, because respect says I value you. We can't allow gossip to exist in this company. We cannot. We need to challenge each other to find the good in each person, not the bad. The scripture says, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. That's what we're to be about, not tearing each other apart. One of the best ways I learned to eliminate gossip in a group is this. My son taught me this. He was a counselor at a camp 2 years ago. And can you imagine college boys and girls coming together, thousands of them, to take care of little kids at a camp setting? College kids gossip a lot, and it tears teams apart. And the counselors that are training the counselors know that. So they instituted a rule. They called it the 429 rule. 429. And the 429 rule was based on a biblical verse that I read to you earlier. It came from a letter in the Bible called Ephesians, and the address for that letter is chapter 4, verse 29. It says this, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only that which builds others up according to their needs. So the 429 rule says if you're gossiping about somebody, you got to be talking to someone to tell them about someone you're not happy about. If you're gossiping, the other person you're talking to can look at you and go, you know what? I don't think we should do this. I'm going to call 429 on you. And if you get a 429 called on you, you have 24 hours to go to the person you were gossiping about and to confess what you did. And inside that 24-hour time frame, you got to go back to the person you were gossiping to and say, I went and confessed and made it right with the person I was gossiping about. That's a powerful way to eliminate gossiping. If gossiping is a problem for you, I would encourage you to use the 429 rule at PacMoore. PacMoore employees will use language that builds up those around us. That's what we'll do, you guys. That's what we do. We will resolve our conflicts in a fair and timely manner, and we will not gossip or criticize those with whom we disagree. Respect is my way of telling you how much I value you. And let me just say to you guys, I value you. I care about you. You mean a lot to me. A team that respects each other trusts each other. A team that trusts each other can accomplish amazing things. PacMoore will create 5,000 jobs by 2020 in low-income communities around the world. Our value of respect is critical for each of us to embrace in order for us to live and to reach that goal. So let's do that together. Thank you guys for coming. God bless you and have a great day.